All right, fiddling with your oven clock might end up a thing of the past. The U.S. House passed the Sunshine Protection Act this week, which would make daylight saving time year-round. Maddie Fran shows us how that would impact the Quad Cities and some of the arguments for and against the change.
On Sam Benson's farm near LeClaire, everything with hooves can tell time.
At 6 o'clock in the morning, rain, sleet, snow, they are standing here waiting for their bottles.
From calves and kids
This is Babs,
to dairy goats and cows,
the horse who is over there will start pacing and running in circles because she hasn't been fed yet.
to Gloria, the man-hating horse. They'll read Benson the riot act if he's late.
They will stress, they will be irate,
But getting off schedule does more than tick them off.
and if they're stressed, they don't gain, or they don't take care of their babies.
Right now, it happens every time the clock jumps back and forth.
I just don't like it. I really am not a fan.
That's why he'd like to see Congress pass the Sunshine Protection Act.
If it wasn't done anymore, that'd be wonderful. I mean, just keep everything at a steady, even flow.
If we didn't fall back, the Quad Cities could see sunrises as late as 8:30 into winter.
You know, it's one of those issues that's just going to have pros and cons to it.
For Joe Stedding, it's a more delicate calculation. As North Scott superintendent, safety is always front of mind.
Obviously, having kids walk in streets that are dark, you worry about, cars. Are people paying attention? Is all the communities well lit?
While some rural students are already picked up as early as 6:30, everyone would come to school in the dark between Thanksgiving and mid-February.
Wouldn't be necessarily the buses on the road as much as kids waiting for the buses on the road, and depending on what their situation is and setup is.
On the other hand, the time change can impact behavior and attention.
And some adults too. This isn't just for kids. You know, those are adjustment periods that take a few weeks for things to settle back down and get back in a routine.
If the law goes through, Stedding doesn't expect schedule adjustments in the first year, and it would have to be minor.
To all suddenly do something that would put families in a bind when it comes to daycare or getting off work and things like that, you got to take those things into serious consideration too.
Whether or not you want to keep time changes comes down to your lifestyle.
I myself have said I would love not to have that transition.
And how you get your dinner. In Scott County, Maddie Franz, WQAD News 8.
Now, daylight saving time was first introduced in Germany during World War I as an energy-saving measure. The U.S. adopted the practice 2 years later in 1918. It was originally adopted as a wartime measure and was repealed a year later. Daylight saving time was then reintroduced in World War II. Congress later passed the Uniform Time Act in 1966. Arizona and Hawaii opted out of DST. During an energy crisis in 1974, DST semi-annual time changes were permanently adopted. Now, only 12% of U.S. adults are in favor of the current time system, and more than half want to see daylight saving time year-round. That's according to a 2025 poll by the Associated Press and the University of Chicago.